Welcome to the Clockwork Percussion Podcast. This is
Thank you.
episode 3 with Paul Gehlhar
Hello.
from Ninja Gandhi. Hello. All right, so thanks for coming by. This is just an opportunity to get to know you as a drummer and your projects currently. I respect your playing. I just want to say that. We've
Thank
played
you.
a few shows together, and you're a madman behind the kit, so really excited to learn and hopefully steal some of your trade secrets here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here to share, so the more the merrier, right? We always pick up little secrets, little techniques from everyone we meet, so I'm excited.
100%. Great. So if we could just start off discussing what you're doing, like recording, touring, rehearsing, lessons.
So currently, I'm mainly playing in Ninja Gandhi as their drummer. We are finishing up album number 2. It's in mixing and mastering right now, so I'm super excited to be releasing that. We will be touring on it. I don't have dates on that just yet. But also I play guitar also and bass. I do recordings also. But guitar-wise right now I'm working on a surf rock album. So it's kind of a mix of surf rock, punk, and heavy metal.
Nice.
I love surf rock, the percussive guitar, the tremolo picking, just the vibe of it, the beach vibes.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
What's your favorite, I guess, current or all-time surf band?
I really like Dick Dale.
Okay.
His playing. It's
For sure.
It's very good.
Yeah. No, he's the king.
Mhm.
It's funny because my dad's a musician as well, and one of his good friends is Dusty Watson, who played drums for Dick for years towards the end there, and then he plays with oh my god, what's the name of his band right now? I'll think of it. But yeah, he's an amazing drummer, so that's great. And then what is Ninja Gandhi's best way to find you? What's the best way to find you guys?
Definitely on Instagram.
Okay.
I believe we're at Ninja Gandhi Official.
Okay.
And we just started our TikTok, so that's going to be fun.
All
We're
right.
on Facebook, Ninja Gandhi Band. Yeah, any of those platforms. We have YouTube. Find us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all the major streaming platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So who's your favorite drummer of all time?
Wow. That is the question. My favorite has to be Chris Adler
Okay.
of Lamb of God, previously of Lamb of God.
Okay.
His playing in my youth, growing up listening to them, his playing really influenced me to play aggressively and fast, but also to groove. So he is very, very good. And the music he was able to play to and write to was also very good, very aggressive. And I really like his playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that a little bit because I've seen Lamb of God. Mike from Lemmy Devato, our guitarist, is super into Lamb of God and loves that style. And so they're kind of, to me, they come from kind of almost like a Pantera influence. So he's got that Vinnie Paul groove vibe, as you mentioned. What's their writing dynamic like? Are they was it a kind of like a team where he was part of it for writing most of their stuff in the beginning, or how did that work?
I'm not too familiar with their process, but I know the Adler brothers, the guitarist Willie Adler and Chris Adler, I believe they started the band, or they had a huge influence on the band in its upcoming.
Oh wow.
I'm actually not sure who the main writer is, but I
Okay.
know that Chris Adler wrote his drum parts, and the way he orchestrated them and he played them was very musical to me.
For sure.
It wasn't just pedal to the metal blast beats all around. It was groovy and accents, ostinatos happening that I really liked.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some nuance there as far as metal's concerned. If I were to listen to them and try to dive in from the very beginning, what would you recommend to hear first?
I would start with Ashes of the Wake, which was kind of their debut album. They had a song on Guitar Hero 2, which is how I first heard them.
Oh.
And it wasn't even them, it was the studio band who was re-recording all the music. They did a cover of Laid to Rest off of that album. And the screaming wasn't very good, but all the instrumentals were very good.
Okay.
So I listened to the original, and I was like, I have to dive into this band to see what they're all about. But I would highly suggest Ashes of the Wake, As the Palaces Burn, and Sacrament. Those 3 albums, for me, really shaped my drumming and my playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I have to dive in. So what sticks do you use?
Wooden ones. But to be more specific, Vic Firth Extreme 5B nylon tips. So you get a little extra length with the Extreme. I like the nylon tips because I break the tips on the bell a lot. And playing, I always break tips. Those were the first things that started to break. I did try their Titan sticks for about a year. I ended up breaking a pair of them. They're like carbon fiber pitch matched. They're like... they feel different. They don't have the same feeling as wood. They're hollow also, which is really interesting.
Oh.
But very strong sticks. They lasted me a full year before I broke them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I've looked into those Ahead sticks that are carbon fiber, but I don't think I've actually ever held a pair. So I didn't know Vic Firth. They're called the Titan line?
I believe so. Titan. Vic Firth Titans.
Okay. And with your Extreme 5B, love the extra length. The nylon tips, so you were breaking like the wood tips. They were like shattering because you were hitting the bell so hard.
They would split in half almost, with the grain, of course, and then I would be stuck with an uneven surface playing on the ride, and it would feel weird in my hands because when I play my technique, however, my sticks slowly rotate to the left, I believe, constantly when I'm playing, because I don't have a solid grip the whole time. I have a very loose grip, and that came from me holding the sticks too tight and having bad technique and ripping open my thumbs and fingers.
Sure. That's one thing I've noticed about your playing. Just watching you, you always seem very relaxed. And I think I asked you about that too after like a Doll Hut show, and you're like, "Yeah, I just like to be relaxed." And so that's cool that you're Ninja Gandhi, and then you're also have this like Zen like.
It's very Zen. I usually I feel like for me when I'm performing, I go into like a different state of mind, and it's super relaxing, and like all the cares in the world seem to go away, and I have one job in this moment to have fun with my friends, and I'm able to execute that every time, which is amazing.
Very cool.
So it's very therapeutic for me.
Hell yeah. What is your current drum kit?
Right now, I have a Tama Birch Bubinga Star Classic. It's a performer series. I don't believe they're making the drums with Bubinga anymore, just because it's I think it's closer to being endangered, or they want to preserve the deforestation of it or whatnot.
Okay.
But I'm very happy with that kit. It's a exclusive like teal sparkle, which I'm a sucker for. I love that. It's like
beautiful.
Classic car look almost.
Yeah.
I really, really like that. My snare drum is a Black Panther Mapex.
Okay.
Hand hammered. That thing smacks.
Yeah, it's brass, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you could hear that thing from like outside.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite snare drums. I would love to hunt down a Tama Bell Brass sometime in my life to own. Those are like a single cast of brass. There's no binding or bending of the metal. It's cast in one solid piece of brass.
Oh,
and
wow.
They weigh about 50 pounds.
Holy hell.
But the tone,
yeah,
you can't get it any way else.
For sure. That's crazy, 50 pounds.
It's a big piece of brass. It's thick.
Okay, so that kind of leads into my next question. We know what your dream snare is now. What's your dream kit?
I would love to do a custom drum with either SJC
Mm,
or possibly DW, because I know they have like endless options.
yeah.
But I really like the look of the SJCs and the DWs. I've never sat down behind a DW, played it, and been like, huh, that doesn't sound quite right. They've
Right.
always been like pristine,
Yeah.
great drums, awesome hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Love the hardware.
Have you been to the factory and done the tour?
I have not.
So I did it last August or early September. And you go on, I think it's like a Thursday in the afternoon. And for some reason, there was no one else there. And so I got this like private tour of the factory, but they go into, and you could watch like basically the same thing on, they have a YouTube video about it. But it takes about an hour, and then they talk about like all the wood types and like the lamination styles of the plies, like cross laminated and everything. And it was fascinating because I had no idea really. You hear like ply, and you're just like, oh, like I think about like a skateboard deck, and I was like, yeah, it's probably just like there's no like real strategy or technique to that, but it's very precise, especially with them. And makes me want to go back to your Birch Bubinga kit. Do you know much about the ply and lamination style of that?
I don't know the specs on it. But I do know the Birch has like the mid-range attack, and the Bubinga has a lot of that low end. I want to say average is like 7 to 8 ply.
Okay.
I think my drums are around there.
Right. Are they all 45 bearing edges? Do you know?
I believe so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet. So, and your kit is a 5-piece, right? Would you stay with that moving forward?
I really would like to go down to a 4-piece kit. My ideal setup would be, well, maybe 6. I would love to have 2 kick drums, a snare drum, and then a floor tom on each side.
Cool.
And that would clear my upper half, mid half register for more like orchestration of like cowbells and bells. I'm also experimenting right now, practicing playing keys with my left hand and then doing full drum orchestrations with my right hand and my feet. I think that will bring a really huge dynamic to Ninja Gandhi and my future projects. But yeah, I love like bells and splashes and all kinds of percussion. I would love that. That'd be
Cool.
really cool.
Nice. Do you have a favorite cymbal brand?
I love Sabian.
Okay.
I've
Same.
I've played Meinl, I've played Zildjian, I've played Sabian. I've demoed tons of cymbal brands at NAMM, but I always go back to Sabian, and it just delivers every time.
Yeah. My first introduction to them was through their ride cymbals. The bell is like the most important thing for me. And the first cymbal that I have finally broke. But I have 2 Sabian rides now, and one's kind of trash that I use for practice, and then I use my AAX dry ride for shows and recordings. But then I got these AAX hats, and I'd never had Sabian hats before. So now I'm just like, whenever I bring out the fine china for shows and recordings, and I have all Sabian stuff. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this before. Do you do drum lessons, or you just do music lessons in general?
So currently I'm teaching for a company called Rockstars of Tomorrow. And we just opened a location in Huntington Beach.
Okay.
I currently teach the one in Chino Hills.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
there Monday through Thursday, and I teach guitar, bass, drums, piano, some introductory Logic lessons, songwriting. So I'm kind of all over the place there. But they keep me very busy, and they're a really cool company, business that I found through my touring and networking, and I just really kicked it off with the people there, and it's just been amazing. I also teach on my own, so I have private students that I teach in Garden Grove.
Okay.
And those are mainly drum students. A lot of students looking to push the boundary between I can play the drums very well. I can play double bass fast, but I want to do it more efficiently with more precision and have more control over my beater or my feet or like hip flexors or technique wise. So I really dial that in with them. Excuse me. We go over different warm up exercises, independence exercises, um, lots of just technical things like body mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be overstated how much that you're like a machine when you're playing drums. You're like a system of levers and pulleys, so you have to move in like accordance with how your body's designed. And when you see a lot of drummers, like novice drummers, pick up sticks, and you want to correct those mistakes as quickly as possible because those bad habits, unfortunately they'll stick a lot. And, you watch a lot of people with like really low gear when they're playing, or like just elbows far out and stuff. And so that's a trip. So how can people that are interested in, and it sounds like that you'd help even advanced drummers, how can they reach out to contact you?
I'm very busy on Instagram, or I'm very present on Instagram. And I'm starting to be more present on TikTok. So on TikTok, you can find me at What Are You Snaring At? So that's at What You Are Snaring At. And my Instagram is Paradiddle Paul.
Paradiddle Paul.
Paradiddle Paul.
Nice and simple. I love that. Cool. So you were we talked about molar a little bit, but flying fingers, I've never heard of that technique before.
Flying fingers. That's essentially where your wrists and arms don't really move as much, and your fingers and hands are taking all of the potential energy and kinetic energy and dribbling the stick.
Dribbling the stick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a ball.
Right,
it's just like a ball, right? Gravity, you put down energy, that same energy returns. It won't return to the same spot, but it'll be pretty dang close every time.
Okay. I like that. For me personally, I use like my thumb and index finger and maybe a little bit of my middle finger as like the fulcrum point, and then I use my pinky for a lot of control.
Yes.
But I'd say my ring finger, while there's always like probably as much contact as my pinky, there's not as much like command on the stick. And I want to say I'm probably like in between like a German and a French. It just like oscillates, and when I go faster, I use more fingers. So is flying fingers like taking all of that into account, or can you go into like pinkies a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, so essentially the fulcrum point is between your thumb and your index finger. Middle ring and pinky are working in tandem together. It's almost like a twitch, you could say, but the stick is almost keeping contact with the whole hand, all the fingers, all the time.
Okay.
So that's another thing I like to encourage, is like constant contact with the stick, because when you don't have contact with the stick, you can't control the stick.
Right.
So constant contact with the stick, especially when you're getting into like double strokes. Quite a few drummers, on their double stroke, when they practice the second note, they accent. I do that a lot. I believe Thomas Lang is the one who I was viewing who had said that.
That Drumeo one that he did about all the rudiments is amazing.
He has tons of stuff before Drumeo, and I love that he's on Drumeo because that's such a great platform. But yeah, he just had some amazing videos that I watched when I was younger, and I was like, his technique is almost flawless. Like, it looks like he can play anything off his left, anything off his right.
I think so. I was actually at the Las Vegas drum show this past March, and he was the guest, and he did like a clinic at the end of the day. And I got a chance. He did like a big solo and had it like a pretty rad kit with all these cool toys. And I got the opportunity to ask him about tuning, because that's something that I regrettably didn't get into until probably, I don't know, maybe like 8 months ago.
Let's talk tuning. I love it.
Yeah, well,
I love it.
Yeah, so he actually said something similar to what you said when I asked you one of the first times we met at the Doll Hut. And he's like, yeah, basically I just kind of try to make each drum sound, like each head sound the same. Tension-wise, go from like a loose like finger tightness, and then like go up like just a little bit at a time until they sound equal, and then for like a more rock sound, tune the resonant head slightly up in pitch from the batter head. So take it away.
That was a great. Yeah, that was pretty much what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Hand tighten, tune them up a little bit, get them evenly matched. One thing that I would like to get into that I haven't really delved into is pitch matching or pitch tuning the drums. So tuning each tom to like a third or a fifth from each other. So it's even more musical. So you have more orchestration.
Okay.
That's least likely for me because like my ideal kit would have 2 floor toms, and that would be like my only impact orchestration, lower end. But you know, when I see bands with 4 rack toms and 3 floor toms, I'm always like, what if he tuned that to like either a scale or like to the album's tuning? Like that might resonate, and like that might sound really cool. It might be a different dynamic, like playing chords with your drums.
Chords with your
because Terry Bozzio, I believe has a chromatically tuned kit.
Right.
So he has a full orchestration of like, I can play anything my string section's playing, and that includes digging my stick into the drum to bend the pitch or to like tighten the head, hit it to get a higher pitch or a quarter step in like Eastern music or non-Western music.
Those, that would semitones and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. Have you heard of DW? They put like a pitch recommendation. They write that inside their shells.
Yes.
Have you experimented with that at all?
Not so much. The DW stuff I would love to own eventually, but it's just not in my budget at the moment.
Me neither. Yeah, amen. I always thought that was cool. I watched this one video, this YouTube channel. This guy talked about it a little bit, and I don't really have a takeaway, so I don't know if the video was super impactful, but it's still interesting, and it's almost different than what you were saying. It's like not orchestrated to the potential. It's not like practical towards a lot of music, because like they would like hit the shell and they're like, oh, it's a C sharp, or this is a G sharp, you know, this specific shell, so if you tune it this way it'll sound its best. But it's like, okay, well, we tune, you know, not in those tunings, or we don't even have like a song in that key, you know, maybe one chord in the song is going to be like that, so it's like, do I use it then? All right, and then you were also touching on technique in general. How about if we move on to feet?
Feet. So I love using heel toe, which is essentially doubles with your feet, double strokes with the feet. And swivel has completely changed my playing and my ability to play faster singles.
Swivel?
Swivel.
What's that?
So essentially, each stroke of your foot, it's more of an ankle motion. So it takes a lot of pressure, or it takes a lot less of a mechanic of the hip flexor and the glute and the calf, and turns it into more of an ankle motion.
Okay.
And in tandem, you almost can get into like a fun little like swivel rhythm.
Okay. I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're doing that heel toe?
No. So 2 different techniques.
Oh, I see.
Swivel is one technique where it's primarily toes. And then heel toe is alternating heel toe on your right and heel toe on your left.
Mm-hmm.
And some people even go heel toe toe, heel toe toe. But I prefer the heel toe. So you could essentially do double or single strokes with heel toe toe.
Right.
But it's just a different technique I haven't practiced.
Okay. So do you play with shoes on?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. I play without shoes also. When I play without shoes, I'm usually playing extreme music that's pushing like 210 tempo. So I'm consistently doing heel toes, and I have a different pedal setup for when I'm playing like extreme forms of music. Versus with Ninja Gandhi, we have some extreme parts, but most of it's like groovy, fun, party dance.
Right.
Like we really lay into having fun, like,
For
and
sure.
like dance, like, quite a few of our shows, how our pit will change into like a dance party. We'll be like, all right, here's the cowboy section, like papa, and everyone just do a crazy dance. Everyone starts dancing, and it's just like energy we can pull and give, and like really helps with our flow in our show.
Yeah, no, I can see where you definitely capitalize on that, and you definitely pull from a lot of different genres in multiple times within a song too, which is love that. So just to go back to extreme music, I don't play with shoes on, but I'm always toe down, like exclusively. I just haven't gotten to the
Heel up.
heel up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it's like at a certain point it's like hindering to move faster? Like it's like less easy to move faster, heel up only?
Well, swivel is essentially a heel up position, and that's some of the fastest playing I'm able to do, and I've seen others do. But heel toe, I mean, you just can't beat playing doubles with your feet. Like my feet are playing eighth notes, and I get 2 hits out of it each time. Like mechanically, energy wise, like it's just the optimal thing for speed. Like in my opinion, like I've seen a lot of people do pressure swivel, and I haven't dove into that yet. I feel like 2 kick drums, 2 separate main pedals would really help with that, versus like your slave pedal on the left is always gonna have a little almost latency, and like going from a double kick to 2 single kicks, for me it's a huge difference. I can feel the response in my left so much more immediate. So I have to adjust for that.
Right. That's interesting, because I was talking to one of my students. He wants to do a double pedal with his electronic kit, and I'm like, dude, you should. Like, it's, I don't get it why people are like cautioning against double pedal. It's like, you're not going to get that sound otherwise. But for my setup, I use the main beater is directly in the center, and then my second beater is like off to the left a little bit, because I'm like, I want that different sound a little bit.
Yes.
But with 2 kick drums, I mean, I guess you could do that too. You could tune them to different pitches, but you're trying to get the same pitch out of both.
Yeah, I believe it was Pete from Morbid Angel who tuned his left a little higher or lower.
Okay.
So that he was like, so people know that, like, that little difference will make a difference in like the feel of the music, like a little more chaotic, a little more heavy.
Right. So. Yeah, Herb from Primus, he uses 2 different sizes.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, Primus sucks.
Yep. That's dope. That's so funny. I was reading about Morbid Angel recently, because I was like, what are they doing? Like, I'd seen him, back in high school and shit, and I was hoping he was still playing with the band, but he's not anymore. I guess he, had like a religious conversion, and and he was just like, can't be a Morbid Angel now.
Wow.
It was a process. It took a few years for it to happen. So now I guess Trey Azagthoth is kind of like the only main guy. But what are your biggest like death metal influences? Morbid Angel is one of them?
Not so much. I know of them. Me and death metal and I have a very interesting relationship, because I love the old school stuff, but oh my gosh, I love the new school stuff.
Okay.
Like, some of my biggest death metal bands that I really enjoy are Decapitated, Cannibal Corpse.
Hell yeah.
And that's more of a, not how they're playing, but what they're talking about, and like just the horror aspect of it. I'm just like, oh, that's so fucking brutal. Like,
right on.
Who else is gonna have a song like, try to keep it PG, but like, I come blood? Like, that's just gnarly. Like, no one's, who's gonna.
Yeah.
And then just the ferocity of their playing. Despised Icon is another great one. Cattle Decapitation.
Dude,
That band.
they're wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably one of my favorite death metal bands. They're up
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I heard a little bit of their new stuff. Insane. And they've had a few different phases because they've had different lineups, different drummers mainly. But their founding member, Gabe Serbian, was the drummer of the Locust, and he's my all-time favorite drummer. And he passed away, I think in 2021, or maybe it was 22. I can't remember, but sadly, he plays like a similar arrangement to what I have: 4 pieces, double pedal, 2 crash cymbals type of thing. And I was like, man, if that guy can do all that with that, that's what I'm gonna do.
Do you ever play with a China or a stack or anything?
I don't. What I do a little differently to try to achieve that is I have my larger crash cymbal is next to my hi-hat, which is 18, and then I always use a 16 next to my ride cymbal for my right hand. And so I kind of like lay into that for like the like I'm doing like a reggae beat in metal, with the double pedal or something, or really just crashing along. But no, I've never owned a China. I would play with less if I could, but I tried ditching that second crash cymbal for a long time, but I'm very reliant on it. It's like part of the sound.
Yes.
So it's like, damn, can't get rid of it because I just want to bring less and do more with less. But I think I'm at it's like, I don't know. Maybe, of course, if I added something, I could get more out of the kit, another tom or whatever. But I like the minimalistic aspect. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably try to get rid of something. I'd get rid of a rack tom if I could, because I love just like the deep floor tom sound. But it's just like I always end up adding the piece I take away back again.
Yeah, I lately have been experimenting the last couple years with my left foot and left hand leading.
Okay.
So I play a lot of open-handed beats.
Wow.
And I don't start a lot of stuff off the left, kick drum wise, especially double bass. But there's times when I'll be like, oh, you know what? My right foot needs at least 30 seconds or 4 bars or 8 bars of a break. I'll just play it off my left.
Wow.
And I'll do it with my right hand also. I'll be like, I know I have the independence to be like, oh, I can just switch to my left hand. So right now, when I started this journey, it was like, I would say right hand was 100% and my left hand was at like 60%. And now I'm feeling a good 100% on my right, 85, 90% on my left.
Wow.
So it's huge. It's
That's
huge.
remarkable. Yeah.
I'm still trying to get the molar down with the left. That's has just been so much more difficult. I don't know.
For sure.
I don't know if it's that I'm just used to a full extension arm, and when I go left on the hi-hat, I don't really have that full extension. But it's that's so fun to play open-handed because it just gives you more tonal opportunities to to play.
Yeah. And then you can experiment with hitting other things with your right hand, other than just the snare, like keeping the beat. Started doing a lot of tribal stuff with left hand on the hat and then right hand on the floor tom.
I love that.
Yeah, and just weird combinations when you play them together. You don't hear that much, or a crash in a floor tom, and it's super open, so it's easy, and then you can always just come back, or even crossing over where your right hand's still on the hat, but your left hand is playing snare beats, back beats with the toms. Kind of cool. Nice. What other techniques you want to talk about?
Let's see, we got swivel, heel toe. Oh, breathing would be a good technique to talk about. So
Sure.
Not holding your breath when you're doing a drum fill. I can't believe how many of my students do that, and they speed up, and I'm like, whoa, let's exhale on our drum fill. I'm like, huh?
Wow.
Have you ever thought about your breathing when you play? I ask most drummers, and they're like, no. And I'm like, that's very important. Think about a set, a superset, or when you deadlift or when you do any type of sport. What's one of the main things? It's your breathing technique, right? When you can breathe, when you should breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very vocal when I play. I sing the melodies as I play. I sing the words as I play. I do fun little like little drum talks like as I'm playing. It just keeps me in the moment. And I've noticed a lot of drummers will hold their breath when they do drum fills. And they're anticipating the end of the drum fill instead of orchestrating and playing the full drum fill evenly and hitting the crash at the end, or however they choose to end it.
Yeah, and that makes me realize that, I mean, at least in my playing, especially towards the beginning, is you kind of think of the fill as like it's separate, like it's the fill, but it's like you're still playing the drum kit, so that like each individual drum is its own instrument, but you still have to like fit in there with time and like create that frame for the rest of the band and the song. So that's interesting. So yeah, breathing I think is huge, and you're right. They always talk about it in sports, and drums are insanely athletic, especially the styles that we play.
Yes.
So breathing, I mean, are you so you're saying exhaling during a fill instead of holding your breath? Okay.
Or like being mindful of this phrase. If I were singing this phrase, if I was singing like ta 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 do 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 da 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 da, like I'd exhale through the whole thing. And like from a musician standpoint, an overall musician looking at music as a whole, like each drum orchestration you play is like a passage or a melody or a lot of fills, and especially guitar fills and guitar licks and drum fills. I think like, okay, what if I went da 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 da, and I took a breath in there. I gave it space. It now is like its own. It has breath now. It has like, it needs something. It's not just like, which is so cool. And there's like a time and place for it.
Sure.
But especially Ninja Gandhi, like I keep saying, like it's fun. We want to keep it like energetic, and when it gets heavy, and when it gets not heavy, it's not heavy at all.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. That's going to make me think for a while about how I breathe when I play now. So
you're also doing vocals though, right?
Yeah, that could be a pain in the ass.
I can imagine.
That's like a separate thing. I can't really think about that when I'm playing, which is interesting. Like my first band when I was in my early 20s, what I consider like my first real band, I sang as well, but I had the microphone off to the side, or like I try to like angle it in front of me. And so that gave me a lot of like good experience doing that for a couple years. But this band, like, I'm just trying to push like my drumming to the limit, and I was like, I'm going to wear a Madonna headset.
Nice. Yeah, no, it works.
I don't want to have to like aim for the mic. I saw Mastodon for the first time, I don't know, a couple years ago now with Opeth. And I was watching him sing and play drums, and he was doing the same thing that I used to do, like have to like, ostrich your head over to the microphone. I was like, man, like he's got to get the headset mic if he's singing that much,
The boy band, Madonna headset, like you said. Yeah. It's just the most practical. It makes the most sense.
Yeah, and it's goofy for sure. But so that's interesting because I don't think about breathing when I'm playing, but when I'm singing, I'm like, I got to get a good breath in before we're screaming, so I got to scream out this vocal part. And it's probably the most tiring. Like the band practices where I don't sing are cake compared to preparing for a show, and I'm singing, and then like I'll just fall asleep like immediately that night.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy and time to do what we do, and at the level we do it at. So
yeah,
it's a marathon.
For sure. And what I respect about Ninja Gandhi is most of you sing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
At least 4 of you, right?
Yes. Mitchell does not sing, but he plays bass. So bass players.
He's a lefty bassist too, which is crazy.
He is. Yeah. I've known Mitchell for. I have to sneeze. Give me one moment.
Yep. Bless you.
Thank you. I've known Mitchell for a long time, and growing up, seeing him play Rush, I'd be like, man, I wish Mitchell was in my band. I wish Mitchell played in my band. Fortunately, when we came out with the first album, he fell in love with it.
Cool.
And an opportunity came around. We're like, Mitchell, would you like to play bass for Ninja Gandhi? And he came in as a fan, so he was like very ecstatic and like very, very excited.
Yeah.
And his technique is very good.
He's like you. He's super relaxed. Yeah. I mean, the styles that you incorporate into your music, and like especially when it gets insane, he's just always up there like you, just super relaxed. Like, and you guys are holding it down. You both have to be because you're the rhythm section.
Yes.
Man, what was I going to touch on? Singing. So you guys harmonize.
Yes.
So like for me, I'm just like screaming at the top of my lungs, 85, 90%. But you're hitting harmonies and probably yelling and stuff. So how do you approach that while playing drums?
So fortunately, I am not one of the primary vocalists. So when I am doing a harmony or singing, I'm usually matching the melody and doing an octave lower or an octave higher. I might even hit like head voice.
Oh, okay.
But knowing that we have full orchestration of like a root, a third, and a fifth happening, is very like, it helps me a lot worry less about how it's sounding and more like it's sounding good and I'm adding to it. And I'm not hitting like a dissonant note.
Yeah.
Like I can hear myself, I can hear them. If I cannot hear them or the other vocalist, so I can only hear Keith, I will do the screaming backups, but I'm not gonna start throwing on the octaves I usually do.
Right. Yeah. If like for some reason there's not enough sound reinforcement on stage. Okay.
Which has happened plenty of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's interesting. Yeah. That's cool that you would do like an octave off of the main melody, just to give it that much more texture. That's cool.
Because we got like 3 other vocalists singing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would like to add to that and not make it muddy.
Right.
And then screaming wise, Keith, our vocalist, he has such a great lower register, mid, and high register. David, our guitarist, has an amazing low, mid, high register. Kane, our guitarist, has an amazing low, mid, high register, both singing, screaming. Like, I have a decent scream. I'm working a lot on my vocals, but it's so fun to be able to like fully orchestrate what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Like, I've never been in a band where we could do that. We'd be like, oh, can you try a third on that? Like, oh yeah, they know already. We hit it. It sounds good. We're like, let's keep that. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's
awesome that you guys are also vocally capable on top of what you guys are capable of instrumentally. So
thank you.
Can you divulge what the next album's going to be called?
We are leaning hard into what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna call it Scaling the Dome.
Scaling the Dome.
Scaling the Dome. So Ninja Gandhi not only is a band,
I get it now.
but we hike, and we hike a lot, and we are best friends, and we hang out, and some of the best moments and memories of my lifetime have been with my band, hiking Half Dome. Or hiking like the biggest mountains we can find, and just living in that present moment away from technology. Sure. And we bring our instruments and we play music in the woods and on mountains, and we write songs on mountains. Like, it's just
damn,
it's just amazing. It's so organic.
Yeah,
that's another thing with our music. I feel like it's organic. Like it comes from us, and we're able to bond over it. We're able to pour our emotions, our feelings, our souls, like everything about us is in this music.
Right.
These songs are essentially like our life, our message to the world. Like, this is what we do. Here we are. Take it or leave it. Have fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. Scaling the dome made me think about. I thought it was like a pun or like a double entendre because Gandhi was bald.
Yes.
Like, that'd be a cool album cover, like just Gandhi's head and like a ladder or like a rope, like scaling it. Yeah.
So the artwork may look something similar to a face with us hiking on top of it, and then
Okay.
in the constellations, a representation of each song above us.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a zodiac kind of theme with all the songs?
Something like that. It's more of like when we hike and we like camp on a mountain and we look at the stars, we're just like, this is you can't get this from the city.
Sure.
You can't get this anywhere but here.
Right.
And like in that present moment too, it's like it's zen. It's an escape from everything, and it's just the moments. Like I think of each performance and each practice and each day as like this moment, and I really have to absorb it and live in the now, because like who knows what'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like more, I want to keep it music drummer related, but like when I see people, I'm like, what's the last time I see this person?
Sure. Yeah.
Or what if the last time I play with this band? Like I want it to be the best.
Yes. Actually, that speaks to me on a very personal level. I was introduced to Eckhart Tolle in my 20s, The Power of Now, and it changed my life. Actually, the Clockwork Percussion logo this is like the Dharmakakra, and the logo is, I love circles because of like the Buddhist wheel, like the eightfold path and everything like that. So the present moment, and that's why I kind of tripped out on your statement about breathing and everything, and like how did I miss that connection in all this time. So that's really cool. That's really cool, Paul.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just like to play drums. Like there's all these secrets and techniques, but man, I just have so much fun doing it.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and like I encourage anyone looking to pick it up as a hobby or dive into it as a career. Like have fun, enjoy yourself, be awesome to hang around with. Like be good. Yeah,
that's another good tip there.
Don't be a diva. Don't be a diva.
Yeah.
If the band's like, if everyone in your band's like, hey man, can we like drop it like 2 or 3 beats? Like it feels a little like we're ahead of the beat. Like yeah, let's try it. Boom, done.
Right.
Instead of I'm on the click, it's not wrong, I'm not wrong. Even if you're in that mindset, even if that's the facts of your reality, like try it. Why not?
Open-mindedness.
Yeah. Or don't make the change, play it, and be like, I made the change. How was that, guys? Oh, you loved it? Sweet. It's like the ghost knobs on your board when your guitarist is like, more in the mains, and he's like, how's that? You love it. Perfect. That knob doesn't do anything.
Right.
But it's the openness of being like, yeah, like I want to work with you. I want this to work. But then if your guys are on it, they're going to be like, that felt the same.
Right.
And then you'll be like, oh, let's try it again. You do it. It changes. Maybe you make a permanent change, It's all fun.
That's funny. Cool. All right. So we're just nearing the end here. You can really give as many as you'd like, but what are like the first 1 to 2 or 3 tips that you would give a listener?
For drumming? Gravity. You can't beat gravity. So use gravity. Sticks are rebounding. There's like kinetic and potential energy happening. Don't fight it. Use the sticks rebound. Technique wise, like essentially we're guiding the stick as drummers. Like the sticks move when we move. And I think of the sticks as an extension of my hands and my body. I don't view them as like a separate piece of me. When I'm holding them, they're a part of me. And then there's just tons and tons of ways to get the most out of each strike. Yeah.
Are you have you studied like Moeller at all?
Yes. Yeah. So I use various techniques between French, American, and German grip.
Okay.
I use a lot of Moeller techniques, flying fingers techniques. So I come from a drumline background, a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
rudiments, really good technique. Oh, you know what? Tip number 1, metronome. Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Get a metronome on your phone, get an app, get a separate metronome, anything, and just 8 on a hand, 16 on a hand,
Yeah.
go from like 100 to like 300, quarter notes or eighth notes, triplets. Yeah, metronome is key.
For
That
sure.
will transform you into a machine.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think I got into the click until I was like in my mid-20s, and it transformed my playing. I remember it was such a struggle at first because I was always rushing, just being like a punker and a metalhead, you know. And then when I finally learned how to play like in front and behind the beat and on the beat, in different tempos, and like knowing what tempo a song was going to be when I was plotting it out and shit, like that all helped tremendously. And it kind of reminds me of this Henry Rollins quote. He's talking about, and I don't know it verbatim, but he's talking about like bench pressing, like the bar. And he's like, the bar never lies, you know, because like no matter what your body's at, like the bar is always the same weight, and it'll never lie to you as far as like how strong you are. And I think I heard that around the same time that I was starting to introduce myself to the metronome, and I was like, the click never lies.
The click never lies. When I play to the click and I either get off of the click or I'm rushing or dragging, I'm like, that's 100% me.
Right.
I can no longer say, oh, my bass player was kind of pushing, or my guitar, everyone was kind of pushing, someone was behind. No, that's 100% me.
Yeah.
So it keeps you accountable as a drummer.
For sure. It's accountability. That's a great word to put on it. So, okay, so we've got the click, slave to the click. We've got utilizing or understanding and appreciating and accepting gravity.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Tons of things. Stretch.
Okay.
Be healthy when you play. You know, don't hurt yourself. Don't push yourself too far. Hydrate. All the good stuff. Like, it's like for me, it's like the beginning of the set. Those 4 hi-hat hits into the first song. That's like the push off of the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a full sprint. It's not grindcore. It's a marathon. Pace yourself. Have fun. Hydrate. I love to stretch before I play.
Okay.
It puts me in the mindset of I am going to perform, and this is going to be a experience for my band, for people viewing my band. Who knows who's out there watching, right?
Right.
Who knows? Yeah, like someone could come up to you after the show, compliment you. You can get an opportunity to tour. You can have opportunities to record. It's really important you play your best every time. Be prepared. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Extra sticks. I'm notorious for forgetting my sticks or misplacing them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I keep sticks in like my gig bag, in my stick bag, in my backpack, in my car, like anywhere I could think now. That way, if anything happens, I'm like, I have 4 backups. Like it's fine.
The Felix bag of tricks, just like under the car seat. There they are. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because I believe that the drummer is always the quarterback of the band, and then being familiar with you guys playing. I mean, I've probably seen you like half a dozen times now, and you're all so talented, like each
Thank
one
you.
of you. And then the drummer is the leader in a lot of ways. Musically, maybe not like performance-wise, like visually or whatever that is, but you certainly command the room rhythmically. So it's been great to learn a little bit about your process, and
Thank you.
I think we covered ways that we can get in touch with you. There's a Ninja Gandhi official, Paradiddle Paul, and then What Are You Snaring At on TikTok?
Yes.
And then this is a little beside the point. It was driving me crazy, and if anyone listening wants to know, the Sonics was the band that Dusty Watson plays for.
Sonics.
Yeah,
Cool.
didn't want to leave anyone hanging. So, cool. All right, Paul, thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Max. Appreciate you.
Of course.